This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.
And we're back on the Alice Stewart Show, 7:35 on a beautiful sunny Thursday morning. My favorite time of the week, Young Guns, joined with Josh Blevins, former Young Democrat of Arkansas president and chairman of Blevins Investments Group, and Jack Avery, Young Republicans of Arkansas chairman and Rich Products Corporation key account manager. Josh and Jack, great to have you here.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
And so much is going on internationally with the crisis with ISIS, and the latest developments with that is, as you know, ISIS, the Islamic State, really wreaking havoc on the U.S. and the world. And 2 American journalists have been beheaded at the hands of ISIS, and President Obama is now really stepping up his outrage on this. And the latest is that the president and British Prime Minister David Cameron are at a NATO summit, and they are working together on a multinational coalition to carry out military action on ISIS. And I want to play a comment from the president. And as you recall, just a few months ago, the president referred to ISIS as JV, and then he has said there's no strategy. Now he is a little more forceful. Here's the president.
The United States will continue to lead a regional and international effort against the kind of barbaric and ultimately empty vision that ISIL represents. And that's going to take some time, but we're going to get it done. I'm very confident of it.
Josh?
Sure. I mean, it's a terrible tragedy, again, that we've had another American journalist beheaded at the hands of ISIL. And, you know, as Jack said last week, no mother should ever have to, to get that phone call that something so tragic has befallen, her child. And it's good to hear strong language from the president on this, calling them barbaric, saying that those who mistake the harming of Americans, who make the mistake of harming Americans, will learn that we will not forget, and that our reach is long, and the justice will be served. That's almost like a line out of a movie. It's exactly what the American people want to hear at this point in time.
Jack?
Like Josh, what happened to Stephen Sutloff is an absolute tragedy, and my prayers go to his family during this terrible time. This ISIS threat continues to grow. I personally am growing more and more concerned with how we're approaching this matter. I'm glad to hear the harsher rhetoric, but I think now is the time to start talking about the issue, and we need to start addressing the issue in the Middle East.
And there are many folks that are doing just that, as we say, the president working with the international community to do that. Republicans and Democrats in Washington are speaking out against this, saying that there more needs to be done. And Representative Adam Kinzinger, a Republican from Illinois, says that the president needs to be doing more to confront the ISIS threat. Here is Representative Kinzinger.
He needs to stand in front of the American people, quit using words like take a deep look, take a gander, figure out and start talking about what the issue is.
Jack?
Oh, I agree. I agree with him, and I think that there are some Democrats that agree with Representative Kinzinger as well. Senator Bob Nelson and Dianne Feinstein have also been very critical of how we've handled the ISIS threat thus far. So far we've had 2 non-combatants die at the hands of these folks, and we hear conversation about how we're going to lead an international coalition to go in and wipe out this threat. Yet we don't have a clear strategy yet on how we, the United States, are going to handle this threat. How are we expected to lead an international coalition? I certainly hope that we start hearing some conversation about what that strategy is and what the end goal is, rather than we're going to talk about it with some of our NATO counterparts.
Josh?
The ISIS threat has unfolded very rapidly throughout Iraq and Syria. As I said last week, it's something that took a lot of folks by surprise, even folks who study, and follow the issue and the area very closely. So I think, perhaps the president was being too candid in his off-the-cuff remarks a few weeks ago when he was talking about our strategy. But what he was essentially saying is, listen, we're going to be careful, we're going to be deliberate. But he's also saying, we are going to be overwhelming with the amount of force that we go in and attack these folks with. It may not be the kind of shock and awe that we saw in the early days of the war in Iraq, but make no mistake, the Obama administration and potentially administrations to come will not rest until the threat of ISIL in the Middle East has been mitigated.
Well, I tell you what, Josh, no one articulated that point exactly better, in my view, than Vice President Joe Biden. And he gave exactly the tone and conviction that is so critical. And I think everyone was cheering him on when he spoke yesterday. He spoke in New Hampshire at a rally on this issue. And he addressed the beheadings of the journalists Sotloff and Foley, and really said those responsible need to meet their maker. And here is Vice President Joe Biden on that.
As a nation, we're united. And when people harm Americans, we don't retreat. We don't forget. We take care of those who are grieving. And when that's finished, they should know we will follow them to the gates of hell until they are brought to justice. Because hell is where they will reside. Hell is where they will reside.
Hats off to Joe Biden. Josh, your thoughts?
Yes, obviously a great applause line, and obviously also the truth. It's taken over a decade to neutralize, or at least greatly diminish the threat of Al-Qaeda in the Middle East. It's probably going to take at least that long to rid the world of the threat of ISIS, and so I think we're in for a long, sustained effort against this group, and I love that Joe Biden is out there leading the charge.
Yeah, Jack, your thoughts?
Well, like Josh, I appreciate Joe Biden's comments, and I thank him for his words of support of what we're trying to accomplish with ISIS. Unfortunately, he's the second in command. I wish it was coming from President Obama as well. Culturally, the Middle East responds to hard talk and swift action, and right now we're missing the swift action. We need to get out there, we need to get in front of this, and we need to start sending a very strong message that we are not going to put up with their antics in the Middle East, and that we are going to put them down as quickly as we possibly can.
That is what we need from the international community, without a doubt, and it looks like we are laying the groundwork for that with the joint op-ed by British Prime Minister David Cameron and President Barack Obama, saying that they will work together for freedom. So we're going to take a break with Jack Avery and Josh Blevins, and when we come back, we will discuss one of the big issues statewide that voters can look for on the ballot in November, and what impact that will have on the electorate and the elections. We'll be back after this. This segment of the Alice Stewart Show brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all of your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.